I'm Sharon Betters, and I'm so happy to have this opportunity to connect with you on the topic of biblical encouragement. It's one of my passions, and God has given me the privilege and the opportunity to share with you and with women, even all over the world through technology, what His Word says about biblical encouragement. I've experienced the power of encouragement in my own life, and I'm passionate about helping other women not only experience it personally, but to share with others the promises through biblical encouragement that God has made to us. My husband Chuck and I had the privilege of serving the first 8 years of our marriage in the city of Philadelphia, where Chuck was the pastor of 2 small churches. It was there that I first experienced ministry to other women, as 5 or 6 elderly women from our first church would sit around our dining room table and allow me to teach them the Bible. That was before I knew anything about spiritual mothering, and yet now when I look back, I know that's exactly what they were doing. They were giving me an opportunity to learn how to express what God was saying to me through the scriptures. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to teach and Bible study on a regular basis, and also as God opened up more doors for me to speak all over the country and even in Japan and Africa. And almost every time, in fact, I would say every time that I speak, I talk about biblical encouragement. And the reason why is because of the way God used biblical encouragement in my own life to help turn my heart toward Him when life just almost didn't seem like it was worth living. I want other women to experience that same power. And that's why I'm so excited about this new resource that we have, Treasures of Encouragement Retreat. It's in the bag. We have prepared this resource for small churches and for small groups of women. And the reason for that is because of our own experience in small churches. Pastoring, when Chuck was pastoring in the city of Philadelphia, as we have planted churches over the years and seen how difficult it is for the resources to be there, people-wise and money-wise. And also as we've heard through our radio ministry from people out in the Midwest who sometimes have to travel 2 or 3 hours just to get to church. So the idea of bringing in a speaker and paying for a speaker and the travel expenses, it just isn't on the table. And yet the need is so great for small churches and the women in those churches to understand the power of biblical encouragement and how God uses us to keep His promises to other people who are broken and who are shattered. And so this resource is designed, especially with small churches in mind, as a resource that will encourage the listener in her own personal life, as well as equip her for the ministry of biblical encouragement. In our resource, we've packed everything into this really cute purple tote bag that has our Treasures of Encouragement logo on the side with the words connecting, community, and compassion. And as you look through our resources and as you listen to the seminars, you're going to hear those 3 words and you're going to hear those 3 themes, because that is what we believe God is calling us to connect with one another, to cultivate community, and to become channels of His compassion. So let's unpack that tote bag. Inside the tote bag, you're going to find a DVD with 4 seminars. The title of the first seminar is Will You Sing at Midnight? The second one is Deborah, God's Promise Keeper. The third is Treasures of Faith, and the last one is Treasures of the Soul in the Wilderness of Suffering. And each one of these seminars focuses on a passage of Scripture that I hope is going to be like salty peanuts for the viewer. We can't cover everything in those scriptures, but we hope that it will encourage women to take the time to dig deeper into the scriptural principles that we touch on. In the first one, you'll hear my story and how God challenged me to sing at midnight in the darkness and how He used biblical encouragement to help me do that. The second one is on Deborah, who, when she looked around at her village, said, "Village life ceased in Israel until I, Deborah, a mother arose." And the challenge is for each one of us to view our own villages and how we can make a difference by rising up and offering biblical encouragement. The third one is Treasures of Faith, which focuses on actually a little house church, a little small church plant, and how biblical encouragement was a key in keeping that church together. And the last one is Treasures of the Soul in the Wilderness of Suffering, where I share some of the practical ways that God used biblical encouragement for me in the midnight of my life by using the story of Ruth and Naomi. You'll also find a retreat planning guide, which is more than just nuts and bolts on how to plan a retreat, but it also discusses how to think biblically about the relationships as you are moving toward that retreat and planning it. You'll find save-the-date postcards that are tied into the theme of encouragement. We include Treasures of Encouragement bookmarks, one for each woman who will be attending, posters, some that you can duplicate, some that you can order more of if you want to. A Treasures of Encouragement journal that we hope you will order for every woman who attends the retreat. It's tied into the themes of the retreat, as well as a DVD with promo pieces that you can use in your church or on your website to help you send out the message, you need to come to this retreat. This is going to be a great retreat. And then lastly, we include Treasures of Encouragement, Women Helping Women, the textbook, because we know that with the women's retreat, there are certain things that can happen on a retreat where you develop relationships and community and inspiration, but the hard work of growing by faith is in that weekly, regular study of Scripture. And we're hoping that you'll follow up your retreat with the Treasures of Encouragement study to dig deeper into the principles that you hear about in the seminars, in the 4 seminars. I'm also excited that in the back of the planning guide, you're going to find an appendix that's filled with loads and loads of extra goodies. Outlines for the seminars, connecting moments, questions for the small group times, sample timelines, sample retreat schedules for a 1-day retreat, a 2-day retreat, a 2-night retreat, too many to mention. But we're also including those on a CD-ROM, electronic copy, so that it's even easier for you to make copies for your team and then for every woman who attends to include in her folder. So I think we've covered just about everything we can to make your planning experience exciting and fun and simple. And even better, we wrote the planning guide so that you can use it for your next retreat. Even though your speaker may not be me, you can just slip in your own speaker, but you can still use the nuts and bolts of the planning guide for future events. And one last thought, as you work through the planning guide, you're going to hear me say again and again, please stop by treasuresoфencouragement.org to visit the blog and to find more ideas on how to plan your retreat, and send your pictures in. I hope you'll do that because I really want to get to know you. I want to see the faces of the women that God is touching through the ministry of biblical encouragement. I want to hear your stories of how God is using His word to touch your life and to help you to become a promise keeper for Him. Thank you so much for your interest in biblical encouragement and for your passion for helping women understand how to help turn hearts toward our God through the practice of biblical encouragement. I'm so excited that you're going to be using this resource. So let's get started. Pull out your planning guide and get to work.
Your Treasures of Encouragement retreat, It's in the Bag, includes the 4-session DVDs, the Treasures of Encouragement tote bag, the retreat planning guide, retreat promotional items such as the retreat posters, save-the-date postcards, and Treasures of Encouragement bookmarks. You will also receive a sample of the Women's Retreat Journal, the Women Helping Women textbook, and a DVD-ROM that has everything you need for your retreat in a digital format to customize for your needs.
I hope that everything I've shared with you about the ministry of encouragement and the Treasures of Encouragement retreat, It's in the Bag, is kind of like salty peanuts. That, you know how when you eat some salty peanuts, you can't eat just one, you just have to keep eating more and more? That's what I want you to feel like with the ministry of biblical encouragement. I want you to be intrigued by the resources that we have available to you. And I hope you'll spend some time browsing them and looking through them. And I'm hoping that the end result will be you'll say, I have to have this package. We have to do this in our church because this could make a big difference in the way that we practice biblical encouragement and the way that we see lives transformed as we become God's promise keepers by offering to others the help and hope that only He can give.
To order the Treasures of Encouragement retreat, It's in the Bag, visit our website at www.treasuresoфencouragement.org or call us at 877-MARK-INC. That's 877-MARK-INC.
I hope you'll stay in touch by visiting the blog and by letting me know what your thoughts are on the practice of biblical encouragement. I hope you'll let me know how God is using the ministry of encouragement in your own life and how He is using it to make you a channel of His compassion. I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts, and let's stay in touch.